Great, now that our environment is set up, let's start coding an interstitial ad. The first thing we have to do in our add activity Java code is to set up our application key. We do this by saying add registration .set app key, and then you'd put in your unique app key. This key is given to you when you register for a game developer account through Amazon, and it's unique for every app. It helps identify your app and keep track of ad displays and clicks that your app receives. You would usually use your own app key, but since we're just doing a general example, I'll use a sample key that Amazon provides. Now let's make our ad. First, I'm going to make a private variable of interstitial ad type, which we know is a class in our Amazon Ads library. Then I'll give it a name, interstitial ad. Now that we have our ad variable, we're going to create an instance of it, load it, and show it. So back to our onCreate method, I can create our ad by saying this, then giving the variable name, interstitial ad, equals a new interstitial ad object. This ad object needs to know the activity it's going to be used in, and again, that's just going to be this activity. That is to say, our interstitial ad activity. Then I just need to add a line of code to load our ad, which is as simple as saying our variable interstitial ad .load ad. But what happens once this ad is loaded? I'll have to create an ad listener that will just listen to the ad and decide what happens when it's loaded or when it's closed. To listen to our ad, we have to say this.interstitial ad .set listener, and then we're going to define a listener of our own. So we're going to create an internal class called myCustomListener, and we'll just build off the default ad listener. So we'll say myCustomListener extends default ad listener. The listener notices what happens to our ad at 3 different points, which are methods in the listener class. One point when the ad is loaded, on ad loaded, which takes in the ad object and its properties as parameters. A second point if the ad fails to load, which will throw an error message. And a third point when the ad is dismissed, that is, when it's closed. And we can write in specific behaviors for our ad or app at each of these 3 points. For example, if our ad fails to load, we might want to put in code to call a backup ad network. If our ad is closed, we might want to put in code to resume our game. But for now, we're going to focus on what happens once our ad is loaded. Once our ad is loaded, I'm just going to want to show it. So to do that, I want to specify the activity that it's in, and then our reference to our ad object, and then, similar to loading the ad, I just say .showAd. It's important that this showAd is inside the onAdLoaded method, because we can only show an ad after it's been loaded. So if we put it up here and it didn't load, we would get an error. So this method is all we really need to show our ad. And the last thing we need to do is specify that we're using this custom listener of ours. So let's replace this with a new myCustomListener object.